Hey, welcome everybody back to KF&JF podcast. I tell you, we're so excited today to have a couple of people on our show that is going to bring some information that we all need. I'm so excited about it. But first, I'd like to tell you guys, thank you for subscribing and likes and your comments on the show. We really do appreciate it. You're helping us out. You're also helping us by when you go to thejoybeloved.com and you buy that product on there, you are supporting this podcast. You're helping us to bring these entrepreneurs to you, and I'm really excited about that. And I'd like to thank you again for doing that. But first, I want to go ahead and introduce our co-host here. Well, he's going to introduce himself like usual. Here he is, guys.
Hi, everybody. I'm Razak. I am the CEO and founder of United Minority Business Ventures. My purpose is to assist with the creative process and maintenance of your business by forming opportunities to communicate and collaborate with your followers and subscribers or other business owners. We use a wide range of networking tools and methods to achieve results. We assist in the idea associated with social media marketing, building your marketing profile, creating your marketing strategy, building your financial profile for your business, and branding your product or merchandise. We may also determine what licenses are needed to operate your business, or if you plan on owning your own domain or buying into a pre-existing site that hosts your page. We also like to assist by managing your website by selecting posts that create subscriptions, comments, and likes. We do this by generating comments on other individual business sites or pages that create a dialogue of conversation directed towards your page. I'd just like to say that it's a pleasure to have you both on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're really excited about the things that Razak is doing out there. You know, he's helping me here at the KF&JF podcast as a co-host, but also in establishing some of the things that we need to promote our entrepreneurs that we're bringing onto the show. And today we have a couple that I would really like for you guys to meet. But first, I'm going to have them introduce themselves to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having us here on the podcast. This is such an honor and a blessing to be able to share our vision and our mission of our business and just what we're doing within the community. I am JONTRICE WELLS.
And I am ERICKA FERNANDEZ.
And we are the Legacy Ladies. We are the founders and owners of Beyond Legacy.
Yes. We are here for the community.
Wow, you know, and that's a good start, man. When you start talking about the community, we all are happy about there. You know, there's a couple of things that I think about when we start talking about the community and entrepreneurship. You know, there's a couple of basic understandings that people need to understand about entrepreneurship. There's two things that I see is that there's a risk. And then there is the part about the dream, right? So when people go into entrepreneurship and try to start their business, it's that dream that they're driving for and trying to pursue to help them, you know. But there's that little small piece down there that not a lot of people really take the time to understand, and that's the risk. And so when we talk about, you know, having an entrepreneur, we're talking about family, we're talking about all of these things, partnerships, and all these things that are mixed in there. So why don't you guys talk a little bit about your experience a little bit in entrepreneurship and business?
Well, I think a big part of what you just said is the biggest thing is dream, right? It starts with a dream and a why of why you're doing what you're doing, why you feel like your business venture, why you want to become an entrepreneur. All of that is the biggest part of what drives you forward, right? And I believe ERICKA and myself have been together long enough to where we feed off of each other's dreams and desires, and we want to see each other win. And so when we came together to form Beyond Legacy, it was birthed out of a need. The need of our community to be able to financially educate our community and give them things that are tangible, simple, and fun so that they can go on and be and live in the legacy. But two, we built Beyond Legacy off of the dreams that we have, off of our whys, which is our families, our community, our
Right.
organizations, our churches, and things like that. And there's always going to be a risk. However, we call it calculated risk.
Yes.
You got to take calculated
Right.
risks that will allow you to scale your business and scale your dream and scale your things into full entrepreneurship and allow yourself to prosper.
Yeah, a little bit about even our background and getting towards what we call the dream. My background is in engineering and aerospace, and then I'm a licensed financial professional. So I'm licensed in about 14 states, and we talk about that piece of it. But the dream came from losing a loved one. And being in the business and in the industry, we start seeing and hearing the stories of others losing loved ones in the position they're in order to give them the proper burial, in order to know what their legacy is and what they wanted to leave behind. Those things are missing in a lot of our community, and a topic many don't want to talk about.
I think you're right there. That is one of the hardest things to talk about when you're talking about insurance and family. It's just one of those things that, we remember back in the day when the insurance man used to come out around the house and everybody used to scatter and say, Mama, the insurance man is here. Or, it was just one of those things that the community was not so much geared on, the understanding of what it was doing and what it was providing for the family. So it's just one of those things where it needs to be explained a little bit in the the minute way where people can understand the benefits of what they're doing over time and how that affects the family. So I'm looking forward to you guys bringing that to our viewers. Another question I have for you is, what are some of the trends and development, particularly in the area that you guys are working in, that is noteworthy?
So I'll start with that and say some of the trends is that life insurance, in fact, has evolved and has changed, right? Most people think of it as death insurance. And so there's so much education around it. The other part is that you can utilize it for so many things for your legacy. And because many have had what I call insurance herd, they have experienced a death and the relative has spent the money or didn't have the money to bury themselves, and then you end up paying the bills, or they left behind craziness that you got to figure out, and all of that is affecting the ability to hear what's changed in the industry and the benefits of the industry. One popular word, and JONTRICE can fill in on this, is called family banking. It's a concept that is trending today, and many people they have a bit of an understanding, but they don't understand it fully. And we're here to really educate on a lot of those things and change the mindset of the community so they understand really how important and how it can be used to better their family, giving their family the hands up like our families gave us and our ancestors gave us.
I think the key part in that conversation is the mindset. We really are wanting to change the mindset of the communities of business owners, entrepreneurs, on what ensuring your income, ensuring your if anything disability kind of happens, ensuring your business, ensuring your life, ensuring your family, what that can do for you in the long run. It's not just a death benefit. It really is a living benefit. And we want to take the time to talk about just how to create generational wealth. But it starts with the mindset.
Yeah.
It starts with changing what we or how we view generational wealth. And the mindset of my kids are just going to have to figure it out, or my grandkids are going to just have to figure it out, or I got it out the mud, they got to get it out the mud. But why do we have to do that? We look at other people who, pass it down from generation to generation. We can talk about trust fund babies. We can talk about all these things, but we have the ability to do it ourselves as well. So we have to shift that mindset. So a lot of trends are happening and there's a lot of information out there. And probably another thing is it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's a lot of information happening. It's overwhelming and you don't know where to start. And so we want to make the process as simple as possible. Just with the conversation of, hey, let's dream a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's think about what we really want for our generations.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about, like, between Eric and I, this is a generational thing. As you can see, she's a beautiful silver fox and I'm still black, right? So I mean, there's a generational thing, but it's a great partnership because I'm learning so much from her and she's learning so much from me as we bridge the generations. We've lost that in our communities. We lost the conversations from our mothers and our grandmothers to the younger generations and to even those that are coming up. And so really being able to impart that legacy, not just the financial legacy, but the mindset legacy, the traditions, the things that we love about our families, all of those things.
Yeah, and I think to sum it all up, it takes a commitment. And commitment is one of the things that gets up from where we are to where we want to be. We got to be committed to it. And if you're not committed to going beyond your own legacy, then it's not going to work for you. You're not going to hear it. But it takes that. It takes commitment and it takes risk and it takes understanding and education. And that mindset is where we start.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the truth? Because I see when you're talking about family and how, bridging that gap between what was old and what's new, as far as understanding, because that's one of the things that, we're missing, because a lot of people have a misunderstanding as to how these types of things work, whether it's insurance, whether it's legacy, whether it's just family dynamics. It's just always something built into that provides a little bit of misunderstanding. And before we dive into the details of you guys' business and whatnot, let's just say something real quick. Tell us a little bit about what's unique about you. What's fun? What are you doing fun before we dive into all of this really good information? Let's talk a little bit about what you guys have as far as uniqueness.
I mean, it's us. What can we say about us? We love to have fun. We love to joke. We love to make what we talk about just innovative. But I would say one thing that connects our hearts is food. We love to eat
good food.
Good food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're foodies and we'll travel for food.
Yeah, we'll travel for food. And I think the other unique thing is what she mentioned. I have a daughter her age. So the uniqueness is the learning between the two of us is that I will give her a perspective from a mother, so she can see how she relates to her mother differently. She can give me the perspective of a daughter, so I can relate to my daughter because they're in the same generation. And so that uniqueness between us is that, it's not two gray heads talking. Silver foxes talking. It's really, we're learning. And in the business, in the industry, you got to be able to do that. The scripture tells us, pull the one up, the younger ones. So as I'm teaching, but at the same time, you can be taught. You're not too old to be taught. And that's the part about this business and this union, this partnership is that we have that uniqueness about us. Now, other than that, foodie, we're unique, and we just like to have fun. Laughing is good medicine for the soul. And then we're learning to do family different. And we're learning how that affects everybody else. And so definitely we're exploring this entrepreneurship world together, learning the ins and outs and what you mentioned earlier, the risk of doing that. And so I think those are the things that make us unique.
Well, I think you got that settled down. I really think that you guys are providing some really good information, and I'm looking forward as we go through this. But I'm going to send it over to Razak.
Okay. Okay, so I've been writing down some questions right here. So, all right. So let me ask you. So you guys, well, let me ask you this first. Okay, do you are you an insurance company, or do you help navigate what insurance company to go to?
So we are a broker marketing company, right? So when we sit down with our clients, we are a needs based service, meaning when we sit down with our clients, we really want to know what your goal is. What do you desire? We are not a cookie cutter kind of company. We don't want you to just, sell insurance because that's what you need. We want to know, what is your desire for yourself? What is your desire for your family? What is your desire for your community? And in that, then we go and we put together a roadmap, is what we like to call it. We put together a financial roadmap. We put together a legacy roadmap. We put together an estate roadmap. We put together a wellness roadmap to get you to those things. And we have different companies that we have partnered with that allows us to execute that plan.
Right. So we're like a broker. And so, although we're licensed in those areas, we have affiliates that we work closely with, that we can work with, but it is the you that we want to present to them. It is not the them we want to present to you. So we have to get to know you. What are your goals, as she said? What are your dreams and aspirations? And what do you have currently? And then how can we actually put that strategy together? And one of the questions we always ask people is, if you were getting ready to go on a trip, a lot of people are going to Greece these days, but if you were getting ready to go on that trip to Greece, what kind of planning would you put in place for that? All kinds. But when you're getting ready to talk about life and your goals, what kind of plan are you doing that? And so we're here to help you with that plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, well, okay, so when you guys say insurance, okay, so let me so you guys help with the planning of getting the insurance. Okay, is there a way that you can say, so I had a death in the family recently. So he's a vet, but he had life insurance, right? So we found out that later on, now that he has passed away, that he had stopped paying his life insurance. And or so my question is there a way, after insurance is gone and they not paid it, is there a way to recover what was paid on the insurance previously before he stopped paying? I mean, because he's paying for a certain amount of odd years, and then he gets sick or whatnot, and his job starts fluctuating. He misses some payments or whatnot. I don't know the particulars of it, but he stopped, and then he passes away. So, and as being insurance brokers and knowing the family, so this is a little bit of history on the family, of knowing that he got into a sickness, and he made a plan, he had a plan, but when he got sick, that enabled him, or made it not possible for him to pay. So now that he's passing, where is that money? Can it be recovered, or
That's a
how does that happen?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's a good scenario that you're giving us. And what I would say to that, and Erica can jump in, is that not one particular answer to that we can say blanket yes or no, because it really does depend on the company, on the situation, on how long, on what type of policy he had. I mean, there's a lot of other in-depth conversations or questions that we would have to have. But what I will say is there's a lot of strategies out there for that situation in particular, right? A lot of times what people will tell us is that, I have insurance on my job. Well, what does that mean? What does insurance on your job mean? What does it cover? Because a lot of times insurance on your job is accidental death benefit rider, or whatever the case may be. So what does that mean? You have to die on the job in order for them to pay out any kind of money to you. And so we say there's always, you need supplemental insurance, ownership of your insurance. And like I said, there's different types of insurance out there that if you become disabled, if you become sick, we have something called long living benefits, where as you're alive and these things begin to happen, insurance companies will pay you while you're alive. So again, I can't specifically speak to your situation because there's a lot of other questions that we would need to answer and dive into. But I will speak that there are things out there that helps prevent that from happening.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things is that a lot of people get their insurance off the TV and they're talking to a stranger. Where with us, something happens with you along the way, then it is us who you will call. And so we can navigate you through that the moment you are sick, the moment things are happening. Another thing is beneficiaries, right? Knowing beneficiaries and putting that in place, knowing and reading that policy if you had it at his job. What do they really cover? Is it just accidental death? Did he have a long-term care? What is it? On the military, you mentioned he was military. The military only covers so much. So that's why we say education. Education is so key. You think you have something that will help you and you think you'll be okay. And then the secret of not informing the family members who are going to be there and responsible to take care of you in the end, those are the secrets we want to unveil. And we are the people that says, let's sit down and talk one-on-one. But you also have to have what we talk about, community, family. They must know. There's nothing like trying to bury someone and not knowing what their wishes are. And while it's a morbid topic, it is so key necessary. And it's so peaceful when you could walk away from that funeral going, I did everything that person wanted, and I am at peace.
And the beauty of what we do too is we come in and we help you with those conversations. You don't have to have that conversation by yourself with your family because sometimes you don't know. So you can see us as a mediator. You can see us as your best friends that's just coming in and talking or whatever the case may be. But we want to help have those conversations. We want to come in and say, hey, if we're going to have a family meeting, I have my financial advisors here and they're going to help us navigate these topics. And what happens is in those type of conversations, it allows us to ask questions that you probably don't think about. And then it allows you guys to answer those questions in a more relaxed state.
Because preparation is key. You prepare for everything else. If you were getting ready to go to the store, you probably prepare and put a list together or not. But if you were getting ready to go out of town, you prepare and figure out your clothes. So preparation. And so while this situation, we don't have a specific answer because we believe every unique situation is individualized. And even between husband and wife. For example, a husband may want to be buried where a wife may want to be cremated. Where are those notes and places, wills, trust, what is being talked about? And so that's why there's not a specific answer and that it is a conversation that we have with you now, not when you get sick, now. And so that will help when you do get sick.
Okay. That was a lot of information. I almost want to call my aunties and uncles and like, man, they need to talk to y'all. Like, we might be able to crack something right here because I mean the VA covers, like you said, they do cover certain stuff, you know what I mean? But it was just a thing of his policy, you know what I mean? Like because and when you were saying preparation, so that would be my next question. Like I didn't really, we've covered some people in the past in our podcasts about insurance and stuff like that. And after my uncle recently passed, he's in another state or something like that. And I don't know what the laws or what pertains to him specifically. I would have to just get you guys in contact with my auntie and my uncle. And so
Well,
But
let me just
as
say
in the
this
sense of that preparation, how early would you say, or do you guys' experience through the business, how early or how late do people get insurance or have that talk?
So I would say the earliest is once they have a social security number
2 weeks.
because babies are getting sick, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to bury them. Kids are getting cancer sooner than later. So you have to bury them. Let me say this about policies. When you don't pay your car insurance, you're not covered. So certain insurance companies will cancel your policy because you are not up to date with your policy. Now, some of them have a 30 to 45-day window to recoup that, but reading the policy, knowing the company and their rules, just like anything else, when you have a cell phone, when you get that screen broken, you are hot-tailing on the phone to try to get that company to replace your phone screen.
And you pay the deductible. Okay.
Like, no, right? And then what you do is say life, and when life gets hard, you go, see what I'm going to cut. Yeah, I ain't paying that life insurance policy. I'm going to let that go to the wayside. But I'm going to pay my car insurance because, I want my car replaced if something happened to this. But guess what we always say? If you had an ATM machine sitting out front of your house and it gave you $2,000 a day, what would you do to protect it? Almost anything. And guess what that ATM machine represent? You. Because you're the breadwinner. You're the one bringing in the income and you're not protected. But the car out there is protected to the nines, right? And so those are the kind of things that we think about and we don't think about and that we don't want to talk about. But we cover all of those other things and put insurance on all those other things. And you are the most important piece of the puzzle.
When you ask about, how soon or how late, how we have a wide range of why people come to us, right? Some people just want to check up. Hey, I have these things in place, but can you review them? Can we make sure I have enough? Because here's the other piece to that. People get life insurance, whether through the TV or through their friend or whatever.
Right.
But do you know how much life insurance you actually need? Or did someone just throw a number out there? Or you said, 50,000 is enough. 100,000 is enough.
Right.
There's a statistic out there right now that says the average person needs about 2.5 million in coverage. Right?
You know why? They think about legacy. They think about the ones you're leaving behind. Because insurance, most of the time, part of it is living benefits for you. The rest is leaving behind for the next generations to do something with.
Yeah. And so, the preparation is key. As soon as you have a social security number, we talk about, $1 million baby, giving your child, your grandchildren a chance.
Yeah.
Right. In this life of being able to do things, it's not just when they pass away. There's the ability to save for college. There's the ability to be able to buy their first car. There's the ability to be able to start their first business, because that's the world we live in. Entrepreneurship is the world we live in, capitalism. So school's not for everybody. And if that's the case, what are we doing to help our generations?
Right.
Man, that was
hey,
a lot of information.
That's information.
Yeah. Ooh, let us have it. All right. I got a couple more questions. Let me see. So, all right. So what I want to know is okay. So all right. So you guys navigate how to get it. So let's say me right here. I think I'm being covered by in somebody else's frame of mind, but for me myself, I never actually went out and said, "Hey, I'm going to sit down and get some on myself." So, what would be in your experience would be the payment process, or what would be the process to get coverage from now to say, how many odd years I have left to live. So I mean, we covered the earliest. Oh no, we know. Yeah, the earliest is to get somebody while they're young. The 2 million. That number sounds spectacular, but how much would you be having to pay that on a monthly to accumulate that up to that number when you passing? That may be a time where somebody might have lived 40, 50 years and he's been paying that long. But if you only have and you're a late bloomer and you're just trying to say, hey, I know I'm going to die pretty soon, it might be, and soon by saying 20, 30 years or something from here, what I mean? So how is that going to accumulate into enough funds to, one, cover the burial or cremation, and be some kind of substantial income for your
Yeah,
kids that are left behind?
that's a
Yeah.
great question.
Yeah, good question. We continually tell you this is a one-on-one thing. And so looking at you individually, it's not impossible. We talk about commitment. Will you be committed to do it, even at this age? What time is it to do it? The time is now, because tomorrow's not promised. So the process can't be, we're going to lay out a process here and here's what you do. The process is schedule an appointment with us. Let's have the conversation. And then it's not just a one and done.
Mm-mm.
It's an appointment that said, okay, let's do an assessment. Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
What are your needs are? And what is it that you would like to do? What are your goals? And then we work from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because without a goal, one of our scriptures is Habakkuk 2:2, without a vision, the people perish. And so if you don't have a vision and you don't have a plan and a mission for where you want to get, from where you are, 50, 45, 65, to where you want to be and what you would like to leave as your legacy, that's where we start. Let's talk about that and let's see what you have, where you are. If no one has got you covered, then you're saying, if you're not covering yourself, you're saying to people, y'all got to take care of me. How rude is that? How selfish is that, to say, yeah, my mom and them gonna bury me. Yeah, my sister them gonna bury me. And if you don't have it in place, you know what the states do? They have a law that tells you who will be responsible, right? I had an aunt that passed away, great aunt, and guess what? She didn't have any kids. So when she passed away, guess who was responsible for her? Her sisters and brothers. Did she have a policy? It was a small policy. But guess who had to go clean out her stuff? Guess who had to go make sure all her bills were canceled or whatever? Guess who had to go, walk with her through the medical process when she was sick before she passed? Those are the things you have to think about. It's not just about you. It's about the other people you're leaving behind that's going to have to take care of what you left behind. So the time is now, and the process is having that first initial conversation with us so we can assess.
And I think that the biggest piece of it is mindset. It's the commitment and the mindset. So, we start you where you're at. We're not going to put you into anything that is going to take you over the edge.
And you can't sustain.
If you can't sustain it, if you can't afford it, if you can't, we're not going to put you in it, because we want you to build up to it. Right. But we want you to be educated, and we want you to know.
We want you covered.
And we want you covered. So if a $20,000 policy is the only one thing that you can get right now, perfect. Let's do it. But we know what the goal is. And the goal is I need X, Y, and Z. So that's what we're working towards. So as you build your businesses and as you work harder or get another job, whatever it is that we have to do to get you to the goal, that's what we're going to work on. And I love what ERICKA said. You're not in it by yourself. This is not a one and done conversation. We are now your family. We are now your best friends.
Yeah, we need to have conversation. We need to talk.
We need to talk.
And you need to be open about it, because those secrets got to be revealed.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, it's okay.
It is okay. There's no judgment here.
Yeah, it's okay that you don't have it. But it's not okay to stay there.
Yeah. What does it say? When you know better, you do better?
You do better.
You better do better.
You better do a whole lot better.
Yes.
Right?
Whoa. What you doing over there, Razak? You starting something, man. You starting something. I hope you can finish it. I hope you can finish
Yeah,
it.
I haven't even went to the questions yet. This is all just
I
me
know,
just
that's what I'm sitting
listening to
over
you.
here. I'm thinking you haven't finished it, man.
Uh,
Go ahead.
let me ask you one more thing. One more thing, and then I actually have a lot to ask, but let me ask you this though. All right, now this could be a something now. The way that I'm talking and I'm asking these questions, and due to I had there was a recent my uncle David, rest in peace. Let me shout that out. And he okay, so let me restart that. Okay, so is there a way to start a company, create a insurance company to where if people have been paying for so many odd years and they get sick and they have to stop paying, that they can still collect something of the payments that they have been paying for those some odd years, and not just the insurance company say, hey, you missed the payment, oh, it's been past your 45 days, been past your 90 days, oh, we're just going to keep that money even though you've been paying for something, and now that you're dead, so what? What I mean? That's on your family. Is there a way to create that, and what licenses are needed in order to even have an insurance company
So I don't
of that
think
nature?
there's a way to create such a company, right? It is the provisions within the policy.
They're called writers.
Yeah. And so the provisions within the policy, just like the rules of anything,
Mm-hmm.
there are rules around anything. If you don't pay your rent, there's a rule that says, what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's rules. And I would say to you is, first of all, contact the company, see what they're willing to do, and see what the policy says.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was within the grace period. Maybe there's provisions that says, you know what, because he wasn't able to, then there's provisions for that. So the first step would be to contact the company with the policy. If and they will be able to lead and guide you. And if their hard and fast rule is, nope, we can't help you, your policy lapsed.
Mm-hmm. Over
Then
however much
right,
time.
for whatever time. If that is the rule and that is the consequence of the rule, then we learn from the rule.
Mm-hmm.
And we do better in everybody else in our lives and say, listen, we learned a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lesson. I learned a lesson from a lot of people. That's how we're in this business. Listen, that's how we launched Beyond Legacy, because people were doing that very thing, thinking they had time, and then things happened and they didn't have what they needed. And so we go, people need to start having these conversations and get educated.
Mm-hmm.
And because the legacy is beyond them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where it's at. We're stuck, in the insurance industry's rules and policies. And that is why you sign the policy. And so they may have a provision. And so that company is where I would start. Can you create a company that go and recoup that money? I don't think so. But anybody can do anything. Find a need and then find a solution, and then you can create a company that resolves that. But most insurance policies have provisions, and they have stipulations, and they have contracts, and that is what you're signing as a contract. And so you'd have to contact the company and tell them your story.
Yeah.
And then your story may move them and may allow the provisions that they'd have in place to allow you to receive the benefits of those years of coverage. That's not guaranteed. We can't guarantee you. We can't tell you what that is, but it starts with a phone call to the company.
So I would say, moving forward, the short answer is yes, there are provisions, there are riders that allows, it's called the return of premium or disability rider. There are riders in these policies that Erica's talking about that does allow those things to happen. So for instance, for your uncle who became disabled or gotten sick, right? And if he had clicked the box, or if the person who helped him had checked the box that said, upon my disability, upon my sickness, I want to waive my premiums, then the company would have to honor that. and yes, you would have received, or the family would have received, whatever the provision for that is. So moving forward, you want to make sure you ask that question, whether with us or with someone else, right? Hey, I want to make sure I have a waiver of premium. I want to make sure that I have income protection. I want to make sure that I have disability on this policy, so that if anything was to happen to me, these things would still be covered.
Right. I want long-term care in case anything happens to me. So all of those things are possible. And so therefore, it goes back to the policy he has and understanding and talking with the company and see what their provisions are. And does he fall within those realms? And it could be possible.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot to be said for
you're welcome.
For having knowledge, right? It's the importance of having knowledge about what you're doing and what you're getting into. Because I'm thinking when you were talking about this, I was thinking, and you know, maybe there was an insurance company, like, you know, you call when you need rental assistance, or you call when you need your SDG&E or bill pay. There's these people you call when you're 30 days or 60 days behind, so that they will go out and pay that for you, so that you don't get your stuff, you know, thrown out on the street, or you don't get your electricity cut off. And I'm thinking that is kind of the mindset, maybe that question was asked in, is whether or not there are brokers that are out there that will say, okay, well, you know, you're 30 days late on making your premium payment, and all of a sudden it's a kick in where this company will say, oh, I got a letter that you didn't pay your insurance, you know, and so we're going to pay that because you've been paying this additional payment, or you got this additional assistance that will help you stay current. And I'm wondering if either that's something that can be created, and there's maybe there's an industry out there that does that similar, or is it just something that is not set up for the insurance industry because of the policy and the way they're written? Because basically I'm thinking the policy just wants to be paid. It doesn't really care where the money comes from. The policy just want to be paid. But are there other brokers out there that, or can it be another system out there where someone can pay into and then say, okay, here are all my list of bills, people I pay. Any one of these people, if they decide that I'm late, you're on the email list of saying, okay, well, you know, you're running late on this bill, you know, Mr. Fernandez, you got to go ahead and pay this bill, and we're going to take care of it to make sure that you're current. And I'm just wondering about that. Can you talk a little bit about that? And then I have another couple more questions.
I have two things to say on that. So one, the financial industry is one of the most regulated industries. It is the most industry that deals with money laundering. So when you start talking about developing companies that, you know, will pay certain things like the water bill or the electric bill, you have to be very careful because of money laundering and just the regulations. And you know, when you're dealing with people's money, the licensings that you have to have, you know, a 65, a 66, your life, your health, there's just your series 7, there's just so much that goes into the financial industry because of, you know, just money laundering. I mean, that's just what happens. You've heard stories of kids killing parents because they want the insurance money, right? So there's not necessarily a broker that's going to just say, hey, I'll pay for it for you or anything like that, because this industry is so regulated. But my second point to that is I saw a documentary of a young man who saw a need in his community, and he saw a need where people were needing help financially. They needed help paying their bills. And so he created where he was a barber. I believe he started a barber school. He had many shops. And so he was out of his own pocket loaning out money in whatever, expecting him to pay back, not pay it back, however it got started. But eventually what he ended up doing was creating a kind of like a banking system, a loan system, to where when people in his community needed help, they would come into his business, his organization. He would hear their story. He would say, this is what we would do. And then it became where they would have to pay that loan back. So to your point, and to what Erica was kind of mentioning earlier, when you see a need, it's not that it's impossible.
Right.
It's just what you're willing to do to get to that point. Will it be attached to the insurance company? Probably not, because the insurance industry is so regulated. The financial industry is just regulated, right? But maybe what you can do, like this young man, is start a nonprofit or start a business that says, hey, I want to be a resource to my community. So when someone who hasn't paid their life insurance policy, because I want to make sure that that life insurance policy pays out, if they get behind 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, I'm going to pay that policy to make sure that it stays current. But you have to develop that business, develop that LLC, develop how that works. It's not impossible. It's just a roundabout way of helping your community.
Right. I think one of the things that you are saying here and even mentioning is communication. So communicating that there's an issue is step one. The insurance industry does have a form that says, should you fall behind, who else should we communicate it to? They send you a form, you fill it out, so that person is informed that you are behind. Not that they're responsible, they're just informed that you're falling behind.
Mhm.
So then that way the communication between you and the insurance company doesn't fall by the wayside. That person can say, yeah, oh, okay, well, let me call him. Oh, well, he's sick. Oh, well, then what can we do because he's really sick right now?
Mhm.
And they will step in and begin to start the ball rolling to help you walk through and navigate through what's next. But communication is key, right? Because I got to tell you that I'm behind.
Right.
I got to first tell you that I have a policy.
Mhm.
I got to tell you that I'm sick. So one of the things we tend to do when we get sick, y'all, I'll be all right. I ain't gonna worry nobody. I'm not gonna tell nobody. I'm gonna be all right.
I'm gonna sleep it off.
And so we gotta get past that
Yeah.
so we can communicate. So even if you started this LLC, this brokership, this whatever you want to do, this granting, this funding for this, people will have to communicate to you. And we gotta get people to communicate that there's an issue and that I need help. And that's the education and that's the barrier that
Mhm.
we're up against.
Yeah, we got to knock down the pride.
Yeah.
And we got to trust our community. And we can go back in history of why we don't trust our community. I mean, there's a long list of reasons why, but we have to get back to trusting our community and being able to speak our truths and live in it and stand on it.
And be okay with it.
And be okay with it.
Yeah.
You're right about that. I think that's, when you're talking about the history in the Black community, it's a lot of things that we don't trust, right? So it's just one of those things where, when you're talking about the communication and the education, it's just a constant regurgitation of trying to make sure we can get people to understand. We got to keep mentioning it. We got to keep saying it. So those are things that we know that's in our community because we just have a history of just not trusting people. So and thinking about that, what are some of the defining moments that you guys may have ran across through the insurance industry? What are something that has was the defining moment in you guys' understanding of the insurance?
I think for me, the defining moment was when I lost my sister-in-law and was having to navigate through the process.
Mhm.
Navigating through that process says, I don't want anybody else to have to do this alone and not know what's available. I've been through many funerals and been alongside of people, but when it hits home, it hits differently. And then you say, what solution can we put in place
Mhm.
to help people, like just like you're asking, wishing, help people get there? And I think, I think my first defining moment was losing my grandmother. That's when I really kind of felt death. But dealing with insurance and making sure the provisions and the history and the legacies there, that was my defining moment that says, that is my why. right? That is why I do what I do, because I have a mother. I made sure that because she's elderly, I got educated and said, okay, I need to have something in place. I made sure there's a will and a trust there, because wills and trusts are a part of this.
Mhm.
That's how money transfers from generation to generation. We don't have that. You don't know. You don't have those things. And so those were defining moments for me to say, I need to put that in place, because should something happen, there's houses, there's deeds, there's all these things you got to deal with. And so for me, um, I saw my sister-in-law and my brother go through this, and then thinking about the legacy of the kids being left behind, and what would she have wanted, and what could have been done. And that to me is what drives me today to say, come on, this is why we birthed
Yeah.
Vision Board Experience,
Yeah.
because the Vision Board Experience really talks about that legacy.
Mhm.
And that legacy involves making sure you have things properly in place
Mhm.
so that it can go from one generation to the next.
Yeah. I think for me, it's truly wanting something more for my daughter um, and my family. It- I'm the oldest in my family of me and my brother, and so they always say the oldest becomes the manager.
Mhm.
So I manage my family, and my desire and my dream to really make sure that my family is taken care of, that I can pour into them and do and take care of them when time is when the time comes for me to do that. And so I really is my desire and goal to be a resource, and to be a resource for them to build and create, to make sure that anything that they wanted to do and accomplish gets done. um, Whatever their legacy, with whatever they want their legacy to be,
Mhm.
that we are a part of it, and that when the time comes and the Lord calls them home, that it's an easy process. It may be hard emotionally, but it won't be
Right.
hard financially.
That
It
part.
won't be hard process wise, because everything's going to be talked about, communicated, written down, signed, sealed, and delivered. So we won't have those issues of what did they want. No, we talked about it. I know what they want. And for my
Mhm.
daughter as well, who's young, she's 18 years old, but yeah, you know what we want. We
Right.
talk about death. We talk about what happens if I get sick, or who's going to take care of us, or all of those things. We have those conversations. And so for me, just running more for my family. There's a book out there called "What Would the Rockefellers Do?" Everybody knows who the Rockefellers are, and they have generational wealth. And in this book, it talks about how they created their wealth. Wealth is not just money.
Yeah.
It's your visions, it's your
Yeah.
morals, it's your life, it's your values. What is it that you're passing down? When my daughter starts having kids, I want them to know who I am,
Yeah.
and know why they know who I
Yeah.
am.
Like I know who
Right?
my grandmother,
I know who my
you know
grandmother
who they are.
is, right?
Yeah.
My daughter has a great relationship with her grandparents. Why? Because they
Mhm.
stepped in and they were involved. They made sure that she knew who they were. And
Mhm.
so for me, just this pivotal moment of I need my family to be okay.
Yeah, that's the part.
Yeah.
It's like knowing what that mission and vision is for your family and having those conversations.
Mhm.
I agree. I think that, you talk about that, and that's an important part of how we are raised, understanding that dynamic, and trying to figure out the balancing act in that, because there is a lot of responsibilities that comes with being a part of a family, and trying to make sure that you guys are always trying to build something to pass on. And so when I think about that, I want to ask you guys to just a little bit about who was the people in your life that you know you looked up to. Who was those influential people that you know brought you to the mindset that you have right now? How were you? Um, raising to be the strong Black women that you are? Who did you see? Who were you looking at when you were younger and you're saying, "Oh, well, you know what? I like the way she carries. She's spanking me, but oh, I love her." But so what is it about? You know.
I think for me, I got my family desires of family community from my grandmother. I could see right now in my own vision me coming in from out of town, her walking down the stairs because breakfast is being ready, and her embracing and receiving me coming home because my mother moved us to to California. So going home to Louisiana, I watched my grandmother a lot. My grandmother's place, her home, was where everybody came from Baton Rouge, Alexandria, New Orleans. Everybody came to my grandmother's house for every holiday. So I got to see what family looked like and coming together looked like. And she left that impression upon me. Strength. I got to see my mother raise 5 kids, bring them from the country town of Clottsville, Louisiana, to the city of San Diego, California. And if no one has ever heard of Clottsville, that's because that's how small it is. It's actually, in city talk, it's a street. But it was a family. It was everything. We did everything down that street. We didn't even care about the next streets. And so that was family, right? And then my mother took us from there and brought us to California, San Diego, where we knew no one but an aunt and an uncle. And she raised us till I was out of high school. And so I came here at 11, and she raised 5 kids on her own. We had to go, bring her lunch at the convalescent home up on Euclid, which I don't think it's there anymore. She worked as a school teacher. So I got to see her raise 5 kids by herself, living in Paradise Hills in a house and from apartment and everything in California in the 80s. Now, I don't know, she went back home to take care of her mother and left us here, but I got to watch that. And so she did it, and she may have cried at night. She may have wondered where the next meal was coming from. She may have done a lot of things, but I know this. She's raised 5 kids, great kids in that. And so even for us, one of our vision is to have a single family complex, because single moms and even single dads need a place where they can thrive. And it is our desire to have that ability. And I got that from my mother. The strength in her is the strength in me. Right. And so I watch that, and I watch those 2 people be who they are. And I get my strength in my family desires from them. Business mentors and those kind of things. I don't really have a specific person, but I do look at, women in business and others that are doing it, and then just trying to be modeling behind that for my family and stuff.
Yeah, I think seasons in my life, I have created villages, people who have just poured into me from young up until now. As far as family, my mother is very family oriented. Her whole side of the family, they have a family reunion every year. Every year they have a family reunion where they come together. And I just have such fond memories of being excited as a kid to go see my family, or to go to, we would do gumbo for Christmas and we would all get together, or, 4th of July, we've had family come to our house and, sleeping on floors and making pallets and all of that, because we just had a house full of people, cooking and barbecuing. Yeah. So my mom, and even to this day, it's family over everything. What do you need? And if I have it, you got it. And so really just taking on that legacy of making sure that our family is together. But as um I grew up in church, and I had a season of life where my church family was everything. That was our community. I mean, I have so many different women who have stepped in and poured into my life that makes me the woman I am today, that I've looked up to, Miss Sandy and Miss Dewana, and just so many other women who just taken me and in Bible studies or Sunday school, or just allow me to come and hang out with their family and things like that. So there was a season of life where our church family, I mean, that was our village and that was our community. And we talk about that to this day, of just our youth groups and just the friendships that we have made in that. And then just as I became a mother and really taking care of my own family, I've had women in my life who were going through the same thing. They were single moms, and we would come together and have dinners together, and we would have Sunday dinners together, or we would show up for their kids and they would show up for mine. And so we just, every season of my life, I've had people, a village and a community that I hold dear to my heart and that have poured into me. I've learned so much from them and just from that season. And so, when we talk about who inspires us and who motivated us and who, it's never just one person,
right?
Not over a lifetime. It's never just one person. It is really a village. And when you recognize the people that you have allowed to just, impart some things in you.
Yeah.
And likewise, right? You create that village and you impart things in them as well that they will never forget. And so we stand on that to this day. And that's why community is so important.
Yeah.
God did not design us to be alone, to live this life alone. He did not design that. He designed us to be in community, to help one another, to encourage one another, to build up, to cry with one another. I mean, there is so much that we need as human beings that is not designed to be alone in this world. And so creating that community, creating that village, people that you trust and love, that become family. Family is not always your blood. Family is not always, because not everybody grows up in a good family dynamics, and sometimes it's toxic, and sometimes I need to separate because you're crazy. I need to find that community. I need to find that family. I need to find that person or those people who are going to become my family, and we're going to uplift and support one another.
Yes, because iron sharpens iron, and we do need that spiritual component. And I agree. There's lots of women, as I've grown in my spirituality, that have really walked us through, life. If I had to give shout out, I have to give Miss Helen Harris a shout out. I'd have to give Miss Roxanne Petaway a shout out. I'd have to give, she's no longer here, Latanya Gridiron, shout out, and many other women that we are in community with, that helps us rub shoulders together, cry together, and be in community for real.
Well, when you're talking about iron sharpening iron, I'm going to pass you over to Razak, because I am not going to get cut. You're going to have to take it from there, man. Iron is rubbing iron. That's something that's going to happen.
We sharpen each other.
They sharpen
you guys are letting us have it. Ooh, you guys are letting us have it right here, man.
Sliced in knowledge. Sliced in some knowledge.
This is knowledge right here. I want to stay on track with that too. Let me see. What did I write down over here? Let me see. Okay, so how do your cultural preferences influence your creativity or decision making in your professional life?
Cultural. I mean, I don't know that it influences us, right? I think we have to live with all of them. Now, we do try to our best to support Black-owned businesses, right? And we my office is with a Black-owned business, and we do a lot of that. But we have to understand that more than us makes the world go round. So we do our best, but our business is really to get us there. We're the hardest one to get there. And so we like to work within our own community and get there. But I'm gonna tell you, the when we get to heaven, it's gonna look much more than just us.
Mm-hmm.
And so while that is a part of us, it is not us in our entirety.
Right.
So culturally, we like to go and experience
Culture.
different environments. We
Mhm.
like to go, actually, I call it upset the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
When we walk into environments where we're the only ones, it is the best environment
Mm-hmm.
because you get to meet and learn in that environment, right? And I don't even that doesn't have to be color,
Right.
right? They could just be at a different economical status than us, at least that we think, or
Mhm.
something we've never done, right? Like
Mhm.
going to an event that we've never gone to before
Mhm.
because we stay within our bubble. When we get outside of our bubble and go see other things happening, like I've never been to the Black Rodeo or to a rodeo,
Mhm.
right? I would have to show up there and actually experience. So really what we like to do is experience.
And that's huge because, it allows us to get outside of ourselves. We are very much behind the scenes, introverted people. We would like to stay in our little office and talk and kiki and cat
Right.
all over the time because we have fun with just us too. But we understand
Right.
that our presence is necessary in every room that we walk
In
into.
every one of them.
We change climates. We change temperatures. We come in and people are looking at us like, that's because God has given us a purpose and He has
Right.
given us favor in areas that we know people need to hear. Now, I'm a piggyback off of that and say I'm pro-Black. I absolutely want our community to do better. I absolutely want our community
Yes.
to change the mindset of the dollar. I don't want us to be the number one consumer.
Right.
I want us to be the number one investors. I want us to be the number one community changers. I want us to be the number one world changers. I want us to be the number
Yes.
one business owners. I want us to
Right.
be the number one families. Like, I want our community to do better. And the only way they're going to do better is when they see better. And how
Yeah.
do they see better is when we start doing better.
And we show up.
And we
Right.
show up.
Right.
And we show up into these rooms because we can
Yes.
look at people all day long, but like, how did they get there? They showed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
They showed up. They started
Yeah.
somewhere and they
Yeah.
kept moving.
And they kept
And that's
moving.
what we're doing. We're
Yes.
showing up. We
Yeah.
started somewhere and we're keeping moving.
Listen, one of the things I've often heard it says, listen, if we insured enough Black kids,
They would stop killing us.
they would stop killing us.
What?
Just we don't want, because listen, them insurance companies would be like, yo, we paying up too much money for these Black kids, but
Man.
because they don't have to pay it out,
Oh my
I-
God.
their
I
bottom
told you were gonna get cut. I told you were gonna get cut.
you have to
You
affect
just
their
got
bottom
cut,
line.
man.
Come on. We got to
Okay.
make changes. And it
Okay.
starts
Yeah.
with the mind. We
It
got to
starts
make
with the mind,
changes. But it
yes.
starts with the mindset.
Yeah.
Shift the mindset. We can't blame the man no more.
Can't.
We can't blame the man
Yeah,
no more.
can't.
We got to start taking some actions. We got to start
Right.
doing some things. We got to
Opportunities
start.
are here.
We got to start getting involved. We can complain all day long, but until you get involved, then
Yeah.
nothing happens.
Right.
Right. Right. I believe that's so. That's we. I'm also. I'm quick to. I mean, I'm mixed. I'm like a mixed breed. I have some kids that are mixed, but at the same time, I'm always screaming the black community, the black community. And we have United Minority Business Ventures. So as a company, so I like to also include the other races that have also been abused or had some atrocities in their life. I know it's not just the black community, but as a race, a cultural, heritage, and all these other words that we could put on a semblance of color. But the thing of it is that there's a multiple aspects to this color, and the barrier of prejudice and what we have to overcome and all that type of stuff. And I like to think that women of color, this is why I seem to notice that when we go to these we go into these vendor events, there's a lot of female presence. What I mean? So there's a lot of like women of color that are trying to do this, and that's like I don't know what would that be on a scale, on balancing like how men perceive this type of business or way to go about business, or how is it embedded in the male point of view, of the black male versus the black female. I don't know even how to really address the question without having without interviewing more dudes and stuff. You know what I mean? But do you feel like there's maybe a imbalance, or maybe not the support is not there as far as the uplifting the spirits of the black man in the vending, or is it just a ratio of there's more women just trying to do it or not?
So I think for our industry, it's male dominated. So in the financial industry, you see more males doing financial services. I mean, the insurance guy came over, not the insurance lady. And when you deal with insurance people, it's majority men. So for our industry, that one we're in is mostly male dominated. Vending events become informationals for us. I think we see a lot of women in product, apparel, things of consumer, right? We don't have a tangible. We have an intangible thing that people have a hard time seeing until someone dies, right? And we get to go through the vision board experience to help them prepare before that. But we have a male dominated industry and we're trying to infiltrate that, which we're seeing a lot of females now doing it. But vending events is not one of our things, but we do see a lot of females taking up space because they're trying to be valued, and they're trying to say, yo, we can do something too. We can be creative. We can establish. We can actually literally put something on the market that would actually be great. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of females in that space, because women are creators.
Mm-hmm. I think the other thing to that too, I think I have so many thoughts on that. If we go back to history, and we go back to, I would say, the Jim Crow days, and even before then when we were brought over, and I'll use it culturally, we were always entrepreneurs.
True.
If you want to, if you really want to,
my grandmother had a bar. She was an entrepreneur. They just didn't call it that.
They just didn't call it that, right? We had to be resourceful and creative in how we brought in income, because we weren't just getting the jobs, right? We weren't just getting these opportunities. And so entrepreneurship within our culture, and I'm just going to speak to our culture. But however, let me take that back, because if you go into other cultures, guess what they're doing as well? You have the Chinatowns and the Indian towns. We have restaurants and stores and all of those things that are very, very much, going on. However, the woman, if you want to look at Proverbs 31, she was an entrepreneur, because her husband was out doing what the man is supposed to do, which is be resourceful and bring income into the household, right? As the woman would then begin to take care of the household. And how did the woman take care of the household? Not only by raising your children, but finding other ways to be a resource and help the household.
Become a seamstress,
or going and buying land, or feeding the community.
Right.
That's what the woman did in those times, and in the Bible. That's what the Proverbs 31 is. It's not just to, sit on your butt and do nothing while the man goes out and makes all the money.
Sure.
No, it is for us to be a support system to the men. So, I do believe that there's plenty of men out there in the entrepreneurial world.
Yes.
And maybe not in this vendorship world, because guess what the vendorship is creative. Is what did I create that I'm bringing to the community? That is what the woman does. We are creative women. We curate things. We make things, right? So that's probably why we're not seeing the men. But I 100% believe that men are out being entrepreneurs and doing what they have to do to support and provide for their families.
But they're establishing their own mechanic.
Yeah.
They're establishing their own electrician. I dealt with a few. I had an electrician come over. I had a plumber come over. They're their own businesses.
Yes.
So they're just in a different
lane.
Yeah, they're just doing different things. And so they're not at vendor events, but they are establishing their own, we met a guy, he picks up junk. That's entrepreneurship, because you don't have to call whatever them people is for the city to come get your stuff, right? The trash people. They decided they can come and do that for you. So that's entrepreneurship. So men are doing it in their own genre or their own area of, what they know to do.
Right. I hear that. Let me ask you this real quick. Looks like Keith ready for some questions over there. Let me see. Let me ask you real quick. Is there okay? So you mentioned, I don't know how you guys want to go about this, but you guys mentioned the vision board and having vision boards and stuff like that. Is there a way that you can elaborate on what that is and how it's used?
Yeah, so we created an event called the Legacy Vision Board Experience. One, you heard us say we love experiences. And so we want to create experiences for our consumers, our customers, our clients. But the main thing of the vision board, and ERICKA can speak on it, it's really diving into you, your dream, your vision, and your legacy, helping you get to the end. How do you figure out what it is that you want for your family, for your community, for organizations? And what are the resources that you need to accomplish these things? It's not just an individualized vision board. A lot of times when you hear vision boards, you think about it's just me, right? It's my dream. I want this house and I want this car and I want this vacation. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about true plans of what you're going to do to impact your family, your community, your organizations, and creating a roadmap to get there. So we have affiliates, we have speakers, we have resources that allows you to leave our experience with a hard copy plan.
Yeah, so the vision board experience is this. Many of us today are a walking legacy. Let me give you an example. Martin Luther King. He left a legacy for you. You probably can quote some of his sayings, right? But his daughter is actually pushing his legacy forward. She's talking about what he really meant by the things that we quote. So Bernice King is an advocate about what her dad really meant by the speeches he made. Maya Angelou said, you should be living your life to make a mark on this world that no one can erase. Are you living that life? And so the vision board experience is about, like I said, Habakkuk 2:2, writing that vision. If I leave my daughter a house, but I don't tell her how to manage a house, guess what happens?
She loses the house.
She loses the house.
She'll lose it,
yeah. If I don't teach them about money and finances and doing this, I could leave them everything. They don't know how to pave the road forward. Here are the things here's what my mother wanted to do. You hear that all the time. My mother, philanthropy in this. Oh, I said that word. Huh? She's a philanthropist in an area, right? My mom would have wanted this. My dad did this. Those are legacies people have left.
Mhm.
Some of them are left between friends.
Mhm.
You probably say a quote from a friend. My friend always told me to say this. I'll tell you one. I say one all the time. Girl, bye. Girl, bye to me was left in my heart and utilized by a friend of mine. And I say it all the time. It just became something I do.
Mhm.
So that's different ways of the legacy. So you leave marks in this world that no one can erase. Your personality, your character. What is it that you want your grandkids to know about you? What is it that you want them to go move forward in ministry?
Mhm.
Is there an organization like breast cancer? That's a legacy. Somebody got breast cancer. Somebody decided that, you know what, we need to actually start funding this so we can resolve this. Pancreatic cancer. They have races and all of these things. I do a race every year for the hot chocolate. Now I go for the chocolate, but it's really a foundation that's really for Make-A-Wish, I think.
Mhm.
And they really do support these other organizations, nonprofit.
Mhm.
So therefore, legacy experience, the vision board experience, is about writing those things down, knowing your family. What did your grandmother leave for you?
Mhm.
When my daughter was in college, she wanted Thanksgiving dinner cooked. I had to give her the recipe, my recipe,
Mhm.
because she wanted my Thanksgiving meal. So she can cook. Because I've always told her, listen, if you don't do nothing else, you better learn how to make your favorite meals.
Mhm.
Because when I can no longer prepare for it, you know how to make it and you can have it because it becomes a comfort food. Now, how many of those things have done? My great aunt she used to make a peach and apple pie. Nobody can make it because she didn't write the recipe and nobody
Mhm.
moved it forward.
Nobody knew.
And I talk about one all the time. It is sweet potato bread. And you people who know me, who will be listening to this, sweet potato bread. My grandmother used to make sweet potato bread.
Hold up, hold up. I heard that way
That's
back
the
on here.
legacy. And so
I don't
therefore the
even know
vision
who
board
she's talking
experience is
about.
all about that.
I don't
Yeah.
know nothing about that.
Yes.
I know
Uh-oh.
nothing about that. I know
Yes.
nothing
We
about
have an example. We have an example. We had a lady, an attendant. She came. She didn't know what to expect when she came to our
Right.
experience, and
Mhm.
it was grieving. She had experienced the death in her family. Her husband had just passed away probably about a year prior. So she was really kind of struggling through the process of creating her vision board. And she said, "I got to go home. I need to think about this." And we were like, "No, you can do it." She was like, "Nope, I got to go home because I need to marinate on this. I don't know. And we said, okay, the only way you can go home and finish this is if you come back and present it. And so at our next experience, she came back with she was leaving her job. She was starting a nonprofit organization.
Yes.
She was doing all of these things because of this experience. That's what you get out of it. Not telling you to go leave your job, but that's what you get out of our experience.
Yes.
You get clarity. You get understanding. You get to sit with yourself and understand, because no one, if I walked up to anybody in the street and said, "What do you want?" They start superficial. "Oh, I want a house." "What do you want? What do you really want?"
Oh, I want them to be nice. I want them to know the Lord.
No. What do you really want? So when we start asking that question over and over and over again and get to the root of the heart of like, what is your true desire, and you speaking it, game over.
Yeah. What's that mark you want to leave? And that's what happened too, is like they will have, for instance, here's an example. Somebody was an adopted child, right?
Mhm.
And they don't know who their parents are. And guess what they've done? They got a whole TV show now because I'm addicted to it. I'm going to tell you all about it. It's called Relative Raise.
Not you
Right?
promoting
Yes.
Relative
I
Raise.
know, right? I love that show. You know why I love it? Because it has to do with ancestry.
Yes.
It has to do with legacy.
It does.
It has to do with people are walking around here not knowing what is the empty hole inside of them that they want to actually create. There's an issue. They created a story around it and a production to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
So in Relative Race, they get to go find that lost relative and meet them on whatever side of the family that is. Mm-hmm. They saw a problem. Adopted kids, when they got older, not knowing who their parents are, who've always wanted to know. So they created an avenue to do that. so that they can have to leave that legacy within their children. That's what my grandmother did to me. She left the legacy in me. And that's what vision boarding is really about.
Yep.
Well, I'm telling you, I want to have a
Covers a
vision
lot.
board. My vision board is
Yeah.
my vision board got a lot of
It's not
stuff on it right now.
specific, so men
One
can
of
come
them,
as well.
Yes.
one
It
of
is
them,
not
I want to
specific.
rub some of that iron together. I'm telling you, I want that vision board. I want to
Yes.
rub that iron together,
It's
man.
all
It's like
that.
some
It
of this
is
stuff.
a
It is open to
yes.
everybody. Your children, bring your family. You've done
Yes.
businesses. Like it is
Yes.
an open experience.
Yes. Because your
Wow.
vision for
Go
your
ahead,
business
Rizal.
should also be written down.
Yes.
Somebody must pass the baton to who? That's what the Rockefellers did. They
Yeah.
passed the baton on.
Pass the baton.
Yes.
You know, speaking of passing the baton, what is okay, so what I want to know is there some sort of for your business and how you guys thought of getting in creating the business? Was there any was there like a profound impact on your perspective or outlook on life that um kind of drove you to what is the question okay, well basically I'm saying, like, is there like some degrees or certification, is there like some programming, some training that you had to go through that made the impact on you and help kind of like get you along in the business?
So for our Beyond Legacy business, we had to go through the state licensing to be talk about insurance. For vision boarding, I'm a crafter. And I like crafting things, and it's part of my zen, whatever that means. But I like doing vision boarding, and I like crafts, and I like coloring, and I like creating and cutting out things and then doing that. So part of that is how we married the two together. We go, man, they need to, because I've done vision boards just about me. I want to take a trip or whatever. But when it became your legacy and then we incorporated vision boarding, that's when it really became, man, set us on fire to say, we really want to help people write their vision and get to a place where they're thinking about not just today, but what they want to leave, that mark they want to leave. We want to help them walk through that, not just with them individually, but with their families. And that's why we said it's not just about you as a woman. Great that it's coming from women, so we tend to attract women, but men have vision and vision for their family. And we can do just family events and say everybody in the family, everybody has a vision. The woman has a different vision than the husband and wife. And so that's kind of what's kind of given us. So we are licensed by the state of California. Yet we are other people who like to have fun. And then we invite affiliates who are also enhances the experience and get you to delve more into you. Because like one of our affiliates is, the brand is you. You are the brand, but you can't become anything else until we deal with you. And so, yeah, it's that.
Yeah, I would agree. So even in all the licensing, I'm a wellness coach as well. So I believe in living well inside and outside, and taking care of your bodies, moving, taking care of the what do you call it, the non-identity, which is like anxiety and stress and working too long or not getting enough sleep and all of those things. We're really taking care of you, because if you take care of you, you can take care of the others, and you can do it well. A lot of times we are operating in a deficit.
Yeah.
We're operating in lack of sleep. We're operating in lack of nutrition. We're operating in lack of minerals. We're operating in a lack of joy, happiness.
Yeah.
We're operating in a lack of, because our world, it's just so much. It's so much happening, so much going on. And so, really being able to take people and identify the areas that they need to become well in. Because even if you have your vision And
Mhm.
even if you have your legacy laid out, if you are not whole and well within yourself,
Right.
that legacy and that vision is not going to come out right. So,
Right. It's that thing about, what do you wish someone would have told you?
mhm.
What do you wish your grandmother, grandfather, father, aunt, uncle, what do you wish they would have passed on to you? Seamstress, like my sister sews. Like, I could sew a straight line. Don't get me to do nothing else but a straight line. But is she going to be able to pass that skill set
Mhm.
to her granddaughter?
Mhm.
That's legacy.
Yeah.
What like that is anybody in your community you would like to know? Knowledge, information. We just shared a bunch of information that you now can transfer to someone else you know. So it's like we just talked about a lot of stuff and said, you know what? I had a conversation with JONTRICE and ERICKA, and they've given me this information. Guess what? Who you need to talk to.
Mhm.
That's how things transfer from
Yep.
one generation to the next.
Yep.
And so that's how it all happens.
Well, I think you said a lot as far as helping us understand how legacy is what I want to say.
Transferred.
How it's, yeah, that's what I was trying to get out. How it's transferred, through certain people. But what I really want to understand about legacy is what you think of it for yourself and your family. Not what so much are you're talking about providing and helping other families do. What is your legacy? What do you think is going to be, and how do you want it to be moving forward?
So one of my biggest dreams or legacy is to have a multifamily home where I can have that experience that my grandmother used to have, where everybody comes over and we can commune together and eat and just have fun. For it doesn't have to be holidays, but anything like that coming together. One of my other dreams, and part of that, is to have both my brothers who love to cook to have a kitchen, right? Where they could cook. And then at this house, we would have this huge room. I call it the big kitchen, where everybody could come and eat. But then during the week, when everybody's going off and doing work, there's this refrigeration system where they've cooked and the food is there, and you can just pull your meal for the day until the time we all come together, have a meal together. That's one of my dreams, right? And in order to do that, it takes money. So that would be my legacy. So that place will be a place for generations to come, that they would come there no matter if they needed a place to stay. They wouldn't actually have to deal with banks and rental people and all of that to try to live life. That's why we wanted the single homes for single families, because it's a struggle to try to have a job, pay daycare, and rent.
Listen, today,
right?
You can't do it.
You
by
can't.
yourself.
And so
It's
we
hard.
got 100 acres where we could actually put tiny homes on and literally have those paid for, where single families, there's always a process, could get into theirs and actually thrive, so that they can actually move on and actually get over the hump to where their kids are out of daycare, and that expense, that initial expense, they don't have to actually deal with. We also, we talk about all those things. So there's things like that as my legacy for my home, for my daughter. I want her to be the best she could be in doing. What I tell kids today is that you have the opportunity to say, I'm going to wake up. If you're not working in some career you're stuck in, to say, I want to wake up and do what I love doing every day. And that is the career you want to go into. People ask me, would I give people my career? No. I work with engineers. I'm they call me a geek or nerd, but I'm not. But I work in that industry, in aerospace, besides the business. But can I pass that on to my daughter? No. Because why? She's not interested in that. And rarely can a person pass their career onto their child, because they're not in the same field, unless you're an entrepreneur and you own a mechanic shop and you groom your kid to be a mechanic. Then you could pass it on. And so that's one of my legacies, is really to just have that family environment and dwelling, and to just have that community. And the biggest thing is, right, I could get up when I want to and not when I have to. So that's kind of, and travel the world. I really want to see some things. And so those are my aspirations, is to see more, than I see today. Have a family place where all my cousins and stuff, because since we moved and stuff, things are scattered, but have that environment, and they can live away, but be able to know that that's a place that they can come, where they don't actually, I don't know you and my cousin. Oh yeah, I'm your cousin, and that's the mark. That's the Martin Luther King, the Rockefeller, the whomever. That's the legacy I'd like to leave.
Yeah, I think for me, alongside that, because we have same visions and legacy, but the legacy that I look to leave is community, is because we're not supposed to do this life alone, and it's hard to do this life alone. It's really hard.
Yeah.
And so being able to have a community that you can lean on and cry on, be happy with, really creating that community. And so a part of that vision is to purchase about 100 acres of land. And on that 100 acres of land, building homes for each family. For my family, my daughter, my parents, my brother, being able to build homes for them, being able to have our community compound where we have single parents who need that village, whether you come in because your kids need tutoring, or you got to use computers, or you need a meal, or whatever, creating a greenhouse to where we are farming our own fruits, vegetables, and meat, our meals.
Right.
The industry in the nutrition industry is so tainted because of mass productions here in America, that you're not getting all of the nutrients that you need. So being able to have that greenhouse to where, people can come in and get fresh fruits and vegetables and meat and, all of those kind of things, eggs and all of those type of things. And at a low cost, because a part of the issue is that everything costs so much because of just where our world is. So being able to be a resource, that is truly the legacy that I want to leave. I want to leave a legacy of resources that you can come, you can crash, you can eat, you can have family, you can have community, you can have food, you can have resources, jobs, all of the things that makes you successful in this world and your family, and really pouring into our next generation.
Yeah. Training them up.
Well, you talk about something like that, makes me think about the most, one of the biggest things that in our community that we lost, that I think if we still had at this time in our life, we wouldn't, our discussion would probably be something different, which was Black Wall Street, right? It's talks about, you're talking about banks, you're talking about storage, you're talking about all these things that would have been a place for us to go to get those loans, to buy those clothes, and have all of that marketing and people that would have been just constantly bringing that about. To lose that was bad, but now to try to create it is what is the legacy of the Black community, and that is what it is, recreating that Black Wall Street, and not in just one state, but all across the USA and in the world in a way. So that's what.
Let me just say this.
That's
there's
how I see that happening.
Back in the day, they have the Ford Model T. Now I don't know what that is, but they also have the '57 Chevy Bel Air. Right, that's my favorite car. In case anybody would like to get me with it, '57 Bel Air. But as the years came, we had to change, in the requirements and manufacturing change. So guess what? There is a vehicle that's in the industry today, but because it's an insurance vehicle, nobody want to listen to it. But it can help fund things that we're talking about. Yes, we probably need the Black Wall Street. We probably need, in fact, there's Black owned banks right now that has just launched in the last year, 2 for sure, that I know of. They're a Black owned bank, right? And there's what black-owned movie company,
Mm-hmm.
right? We can't be so black that we don't understand, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But there's also other vehicles that you can actually literally use. Guess what other people have done to help this? They pass down these things through life insurance policies,
Mm-hmm.
leaving monies behind with a trust and a map on what they wanted to leave behind so it can go forward and not die in the generation they are in. So we got to educate ourselves on what's available. Yes, we can look back and say, you know what, there were these things back there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Sankofa bird said, take a look behind you, but keep moving forward to progress things better.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from behind and move
Moving
forward. And so, therefore, we need to know that there's definitely some vehicles you can actually get yourself positioned to actually literally do that.
That's really a good point because, you know, as we talk about visions, a lot of times what can happen is it seems too big. It seems too much. It seems impossible. How are you going to be able to do all of that?
Right.
Well, first of all, I know we're going to do this. Why? Because we know the resources and the vehicles to use. We know how to manage and handle these things. When you see people buying land, you're like, how did they do that? Because they knew the vehicles to use.
Right.
And so, you know, nothing's impossible with God.
Right. And the vehicles are changing.
Yeah.
We're learning about new types of loans and new types of real estate investment abilities to actually get back to owning land. Now, the other part of that is like we experienced with Hurricane Katrina, right? Land was lost because the generations below saw money in FEMA versus money in keeping their grandmother's land alive. And so that's an educational, that's a mindset shift. That's a commitment to doing something different. And so all of that and all of those vehicles are available to actually change it. And guess what? It's within our culture to do it.
It is.
I believe in that too. I think you're absolutely right about us taking advantage of all of the other resources and ways to make generational wealth and to pass the wealth down. And it's not just based on the past. There are new things coming up and new things that are out there that we can take advantage of. I like to ask you this question only because this is something that we do with all of our guests. And you know, KF&JF podcast is, you know, basically our goal is to uplift the small community, right? To bring up the business community and put them forth and everything. So how do you see what we're doing? What do you think we can do to help and to be better at what we're doing here at KF&JF podcast?
I think what you guys have embarked upon is something that we may not know exists today. And that is getting the small businesses like ourselves out in front of, you know, other people and other venues. And because small businesses don't have the time to do a video, they're constantly grinding in the work of things and making things happen. What you guys are doing is bringing us to the forefront. They're asking us the questions that we don't get to get asked every day, but the information is inside of us. So now what happens is other people get to hear and know and be like, oh, I never knew. Oh, I never thought. Or they get to hear our story. And I think that's one of the other things that we don't get to say often enough. And so I think you guys are in a position to really continue this, seeing, you know, small businesses actually tell their story and what they're doing in an environment like this is great. Other people, listen, one of the things I say, and they say all the time, just because other people are doing it don't mean you need to stop doing it. Because they don't have your sphere of influence. They don't have your community. And so your community, there's enough people on this earth where you guys can continue in your community. So what happens is you have to, you know, get in front of more people. And that's what we're doing. That's what you're doing by us. We're our community now married with your community. So they get to see us in your world and you in our world.
And I just truly appreciate you guys taking on this feat of spotlighting entrepreneurs. It really is something that we don't get often, right? We don't get in front of people unless we are physically having these conversations, and it becomes a network. It becomes a network
Right.
of of individuals that can help one another. And as we watch the podcast, we go, oh yeah, they had this person on. I'm gonna send you to that person, right? And so what you're doing is truly an impact to our community and to our entrepreneurs, our local entrepreneurs, because we can hear, I mean, we're on social media all the time and people are all over the world doing stuff, but locally we don't know.
Right. And we're in the grassroots. You guys
Mhm.
are getting us at the grassroots before we're, $1 million company.
Mhm.
And that's the good part, is like people in the grassroots of things just getting started. We're just as important as that person making $1 million.
Mhm.
We have a voice just like they do. We have an experience and a product to deliver just like they do. And a lot of people like to go for the millionaires. But when you guys are dealing with grassroots entrepreneurs, that is where the excitement and the growth comes in, actually the appreciation from our side to say, you know what, we are valued and we can be heard.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely thank you for that, and I'm not going to take this credit or take this without saying that Razak is a big part of doing that, because he tries to keep me in tune with that mindset, and also, every once in a while, instead of him rubbing two pieces of metal together, he just rubs two pieces of sticks together, and then I get hit across the head to make sure make sure we're on the same page. So I'm going to let him take it off from here, because I know this is an area that he's a former, Black Panther, as he likes to say, and his goals are along this line. Go ahead, Razak. You got to unmute yourself first. He's
Stop laughing
muted.
first.
You muted.
You're muted. Wait a minute. Put your mic on.
We can't hear you.
Okay, we're going to edit that out. Let me see. Okay,
Well, you
okay, so what I was gonna ask you was let me see what I say. I got to I'm
What are you
writing
gonna
stuff
say
over
about
here
all the
plus
good
I'm
stuff?
reading.
What are you gonna say about all the good stuff I just said about you, man? You just gonna let that
Oh, hey,
fly in the wind?
thanks, Keith. I'm glad, everything was good. No. No, thanks. Yeah. Let me see. Hey, this is what I want to ask you guys. Okay, so how did you navigate your career path to reach your current position, and what lessons have you learned along the way? And this is in the sense of I know you guys said a lot about what you was doing to get here, but at the same time, you guys have different things that you guys also do pertaining to beyond legacy, and and as you was growing, you started accumulating other employees, right? So you guys went from just an idea to building it to getting the licenses and doing all these different things to now you got employees that you have. So in that sense, what kind of lessons would you learn along the way, and how'd you navigate that?
Well, I mean, building a team is quite difficult, and I believe that um, God orchestrates your steps, right? We both started off in different industries. My background really is in customer service. I got into personal training and then wellness. Shortly after that, kind of goes hand in hand in nutrition. But as I was going through all of these things, and we can talk about our journey. I actually was going to school to be a physical therapist, and God kind of just shut those doors and really just maneuvered me into position to be able to become licensed and start our financial business, and then connecting with Erica and starting Beyond Legacy. And so along that journey, a lot of it is trusting God with the plan, because I am a planner in a sense of I want to know where my life is going. Like, okay, this is what I want, and this is what I want to have, and this is what I want to do, and da 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 da. But God is like, no, I have bigger plans for you. You know, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard what I have for you, the plans that I have for you. And so, really taking each experience as a customer service rep, right? Understanding that in customer service, and when you're dealing with people, I believe we're all in customer service. Yes. We all have opportunities to encounter one another, and how we encounter each other with empathy and understanding and listening, active listening to what the person is saying and needing, and then being able to solve the problem. Because that's really what we do. We hear, we listen, and then we want to solve your problem. And then even just in wellness and being able to help people live well. But again, that takes active listening. That takes the ability to take someone from where they are to where they want to be. And that's also in business. As we build a team, as we are building our organizations and wanting to be $1 million company, or even $1 billion company. Hey, let's go bigger, right? Let's go bigger, as long as we want to be $1 billion company, but that's going to take a sense of leadership. That's going to take a sense of organization. That takes a sense of understanding different personalities and people, and being able to work with people, and taking them from where they want to be to where they want to go, right, in their careers and what they see for their families and their visions and their, right, organizations. So, you know, a lot of my background is in customer service, because that's what I base my foundation on. My team is based on customer service. It's based on service, you know, and really wanting to make sure that we are really curating a place for people to thrive.
Yeah, we don't employ people. We gain business partners. Mm-hmm. And so we gain business partners to help them become, so in a sense, birthing more entrepreneurs. Yeah. And so we and getting to where we are from where we were, like, you know, my background and industry is totally separate from this. It's totally, you know, wouldn't even come together and guide me down the same path, being in semiconductors and working with electronics and working in aerospace mechanics and all of that doesn't drive you to becoming in the financial industry and then vision boarding. The vision boarding part is just a personal, you know, thing that I like. The financial industry came because of the need and because of an experience, and start seeing, whereas I grew up understanding insurance and have had insurance pretty much all my life for me and my child, but learning the actual vehicles and the actual other things it can do, that's where I say, you know what, more people need to know about this. We need to get people out of the rut, right? And get them on the track of knowing more of what can be done. And then the other part is, both of us are introverts. This industry and what we're doing forces us to be extroverts. This podcast forcing us to be extrovert. The good thing is, it's introverting environment because we're in our office, right? We're not talking in front of 1,000 crowd, but we have to be prepared to talk in front of more than just, you know, a computer screen. And that's the introvert part of us that is forcing us to be extroverts. And so experience and learning what people's tragedies are going through, and losing people, and figuring out that you don't have the money to do the things you want. Everything you want to do costs money. So don't ever sit back and have to change the mindset and say, you know, I don't need that much money. Yes, I do. I need all of that money. I thought I needed plus more, right? Because people have a bad mindset around money. Money is evil. People with a lot of money is that. No, people with a lot of money get to do things. They get to change laws, right? And we don't think about it that way. but they do. Money influences a lot of things. Money's is what's gonna take to get that coupon we want, right? Money is what it's gonna take to get us from where we are to where we want to be. Money is what it's gonna take to get you guys from where you are to where you want to be.
Yep.
It's the calculated risk,
hey.
the financial investment.
We sure gonna take some money.
It sure is.
Razak ain't working for free for much longer, man. He's over there.
I mean, it all starts there, right? It starts with, giving. You have to give, because the more you put your hand out and open them up, the more you can receive. You can't go through life with your hands closed. So giving is a good thing, because too much is given, much is required.
Yeah. Well, say that again, Erica. Say that again, because I think Razak didn't hear you the first time. I think he's still muted. He's always muted when he's always muted.
Because he said, "And give, and it will be pressed down, shaken together, run it over." So give it away.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now I find a lot of rewards in doing these interviews. Like I always say, I came from a background of working for other people, and when I went to, before, a quick little story is when I was working for other people, and I said, hey, I don't want to work for other people, So I used to think like what was needed for me to work for myself and get a little bit higher on a level versus coming at ground level as an employee. So I went to school and I got all these different little degrees in my background, all these little certifications and stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, well, now when I get hired at a job, I can boost myself up to like managerial. I don't have to. I'm not just a regular employee. I could be the manager. I could be the supervisor now because I got these degrees. And then that wasn't really. I don't know. That wasn't really rewarding. Even though I went to school and I got all this book knowledge and stuff, and I went to actually go there. When I'm getting a job, a lot of that stuff wasn't really relevant as far as how to communicate and do the job outside of remembering what to say on this test and getting the degree. Versus actually being there with customers coming in, the hustle and bustle. How do we do this? How do we do this? It's a totally different thing. So
I would
was
say
like, okay,
Razak, I possess a master's degree in information technology. Right.
Okay.
I have my business degree and my bachelor's, and none of that do I use in my regular 9 to 5. I'm in the engineering industry, but I'm certified in an area that no one else is. Right. And so some of those things, we go for the degrees, and degrees are great. What it does is say, I started something and I completed it. But my master's degree did not port over to here in a straight line. It's because I know technology, I can work within the systems which other people use. And so we can go to school and learn trades better and do better with them versus just getting a degree.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where that's one of the things that we have right here, because even with that, even from back then, because mine is a lot of years ago, but in the technology and all that type of stuff has advanced since then. But where I was going with saying all that is to say that in once you get different aspects or knowledge of these practices and you make the business, and it's kind of like it becomes irrelevant from the time that you actually got these degrees and you started your business to the time that it is now. So with this question right here, it'd be so where do you see where would you see your Beyond Legacy company going for the both of you in the next 5 to 10 years, and what challenges or opportunities would you foresee?
Yeah, that's a good question, and you make a good point, because the times change, and they're changing quicker and quicker and quicker. But we're in an industry where we have to stay on top of our education.
Yeah.
We cannot we actually, our license require us to do continuing education. So we are unable to not can stay up with the times. I would say, though, to that point, social media has been something that we had to really take a hold of, because we both come from an era that social media wasn't the primary way of getting your business out there, right? So now we're learning social media, we're learning technology, computer technologies that allows us to really get our information out there to the masses, right? Before, back in the day, it was picking up the phone book and flipping through and then calling, right? Flipping through and then calling. That's how you figured out who you were going to deal with. Well, now it's not like that. It's really about having a presence, having a brand. And I would say to that, branding is so important because of the time that we're in. So we're going to just be continually branding ourselves collectively and individually, and really branding what it is that we want to do for the community. But social media is going to be the way. There's no way around it. You can't get around social media in order for you to get your message to the masses, right? To get your message out to everybody. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And then for as far as our 5-year to 10-year plan is, our plan is, first of all, in the next 5 years, to position ourselves or be in that land we're talking about, growing it so that we have an operations department where we have a group of people or a team of people that's helping us move this vision forward. Yeah. And we're also birthing entrepreneurs to get their vision moving forward. Right. And that is one of the short-term things that we want. The other thing is for vision board experience to go global.
Yeah.
Vision board experience, not just a, Riverside County thing. Yeah. It's not just right here. Everybody needs the vision board experience because they don't know. And that's our niche for us. How it's an experience, not just doing the vision board. It's an experience and it's an event. It's not a 2-hour event. It's an experience, and we bring you the meat of the experience. And so our desire is to travel with that. So in the next 5 years, we'll be traveling, doing vision board experiences around the world, right? Around the country, right? Putting those events on, and as they grow. So we want that to grow and grow out of the space we're in and do more with that. And so birthing more entrepreneurs out of our Beyond Legacy, and then taking our vision board experience global.
Yeah.
Okay. That was nice, you guys. I like your answers. It's a very informational, educational right here. So we have a lot of similar aspects for the things that we have done and how we got here today. Present time. So with that, I would say, what advice would you give to an individual seeking the same career path as you, or in general getting into a career? If not seeking to be a person that does insurance, but
well, I would start with then saying it always starts with a goal and a mission and a vision. What is it? And I keep quoting Maya Angelou, because she says, make a mark on this world that no one can erase. What mark do you want to make? And what vehicle would you like to evaluate to get you there? Now, we know our industry can get you there because we know what it can do and we know how highly regulated. But is it for you? And that's the one-on-one conversation to determine, is it for you? Because like I say, you got to wake up in the morning wanting to do these things. Or you have a drive and a bigger why that says, I may not want to do this, but this vehicle right here, I know it'll get me there. And so my recommendation was, if you want to be in a career that requires a degree, go after it. If you know today, and you need to know that before high school, what you want to be. If it is not a four-year university, don't drive yourself nor your money into a university. Go to a trade or become the entrepreneur in high school. Start thinking about what you want to do and what change does the world need that you possess the skill set. And so do those things. That's called self-evaluation. Where do I want to be? Don't start thinking about that once you're out of high school. It's too late.
Or out of college.
Right, or out of college. Start thinking about it now.
Yeah.
You know, when I was younger, I wanted to be a course stenographer. But I wanted to be a course stenographer because I was nosy. And I realized somebody told me I wanted to be that course stenographer because I wanted to be in court and hear all the cases. And then I realized they told me that I would be appointed to a judge. And I had to listen to every sound made in the courtroom. And I said to myself, man, what if a case got so good I got distracted and I miss a whole paragraph? Guess what? I'm fired.
Yeah.
So therefore, I could not be a course. I want to be a course stenographer till I was a senior in high school.
Right.
And then I learned that stuff. I was like, yeah, no.
That's why
because a case be going on and something that happened and I need to do this and I'm supposed to be typing away and stuff and listening at the same time. I felt I wasn't that skilled. So realize it soon enough, pivot and do something different. But know that you can pivot, but try it.
Yeah.
Try this industry. Or do you like helping people? Because it's about helping people. It's about, our industry is really about changing the mindset of people and helping people see that things can be done differently in this world today. And then knowing what's the mark and the legacy you want to leave.
Yeah.
When people say, when I say my grandmother could sew, I have her sewing machine. Yes, I can only sew a straight line, but I believe in antiques and I believe in legacy. So I have her sewing machine. And that sewing machine is over 50 years old. It's probably over 60 years old, right? Because I'm that age and she had it before I was born. So what is the legacy you want to leave? And then start exploring where and how it will get you there. We'd love to birth you out of our ministry of entrepreneurship. So have a conversation with us. But if that is not for you, then start pursuing it.
Yeah.
And don't be someplace where you don't want to be.
And what I would say is, a lot of times what holds people back is feeling inadequate and not feeling like they belong.
Right.
And I would say that, no, whatever you decide to do it wholeheartedly. Just start. We didn't necessarily know what we were doing when we started Beyond Legacy. We didn't know what we were doing when we started the Vision Board Experience, but we believe that God gave us the vision and we just moved forward. And so you take the next step. If you have something that you want to do, whether it's with us or in another industry, if you have something that you want to do, take the first step and then take the next step. And it may not go perfectly. There is no straight line in entrepreneurship.
Nope.
And it's all over the place. You got some really, really good highs and you got some really, really low lows.
Yes.
But that's part of the freedom. I don't know if you guys seen the picture where there was a miner, right? And he was mining to get to the diamonds, right? And he's mining and mining and mining. And he was like one mine away from hitting jackpot, right? That's how entrepreneurship is, right? We're mining and we're mining and we're mining and we're figuring it out and we're going and we keep digging and we keep digging and we keep digging. But we will never stop because we know we're just one more strike away from the diamonds. And so I would just encourage whoever's interested in entrepreneurship or starting their own business is don't give up. You're adequate and you just keep moving forward.
Yes.
Well, you guys have
thank you.
You guys have talked really good about the legacy and what it means to try to take care of yourself. Basically, this is what it's about, right? It's about making sure that you are able to be in a position to take care of yourself, make sure that you're taking care of your family, making sure that everything that you're doing is to help better yourself and be in a position to where you're not worried, and that's really one of the things that I'm learning about is that worriness kills you anyway. So you might as well do what you can to not be worried and put yourself in a better position. So I like to ask you guys, what what are you looking for, and what is excites you now? What are some of the things that, you know what, I'm excited about? I'm looking forward to this happening. What is that?
Well, I would say our vision is what excites us. Being able
Oh yeah.
to have our land, to have all of these, houses and compounds and multi homes, and I mean, literally, we can sit here and talk about that vision all day, every day. The other thing that excites me is being able to wake up when I want to wake up
When I
and
want
do
to
what
wake
I
up,
want to do.
do what I want to do when I want to do it.
When I want to do it.
Right.
That's what excites us.
Right.
But I'm really excited about taking the Vision Board experience global, really being able to pour into multiple communities and
Yes.
changing lives and
Right.
speaking into people, into their vision. And really the organization and the teams that we're going to be able to build is about changing lives. That's what excites us. That's what gets us up in the morning. That's what has us here at 9 o'clock at night having this conversation, right?
Right.
Because we want people to have an opportunity. We want to continue to impact, people's lives, and knowing that they can do it. They can go from where they are to where they want to be, and we're here to help.
Yes. I think what else excites us is telling our story
Mhm.
and our journey from where we are. We're excited that we're in this office, but we're so excited to grow bigger than this.
Mhm.
We're so excited to travel with what we know, to get to know people. We're so excited about building a community and an environment to start see people actually work towards their legacy, see their vision board come to fruition, and
Mhm.
actually say, you know what, I can rest easy because if something happens to me today, my family knows what I want. I've
Mhm.
left a vision. I've made it plain. I left the finances. We can't be so um, scared to just leave money behind.
Yeah.
If you have a plan, and it is written and you have it in the right vehicle with the right structure, with the right no one can erase. You're not from your kids or your grandkids. Nobody can take that from them.
Mhm.
That experience, and that's what gets us up. Is like, man, I could just see the tilling of the land for the growing of the fruits and vegetables. Now listen, my nickname from when I was a little girl tells me I don't till soil. I eat the produce. Listen, I don't play in dirt because Miss Prissy don't do that. Okay. And so therefore, you might have to change my mind, but that part is what I don't do. But I'm looking forward to actually harvesting it all and eating it all and seeing. But I always say you got to have vegetables with your meal. So I'm looking for fresh vegetables and
Yes.
fruit and all of that. When I went to Ghana, fresh vegetables
Oh,
and fruits were great. And
can't
so
wait.
those are the things that
Can't
excite
wait.
us about taking Vision Board Experience globally, building our entrepreneurs and getting them out and towards their dreams, and then helping see other people's dreams come true.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm happy, that, what I like to do now, usually when I get to this point, what I would like for you guys to do is just take a minute and like digress for a minute and just introduce yourselves, your business back to our listeners and let them know who you are. Give them your website, give them everything that a way for them to get a hold of you and information that you would like them to know. Just take the moment and look into that camera and give them that.
Well, I am JONTRICE WELLS, one of the or co-founder of Beyond Legacy.
Yes.
And it is our desire, or my desire, for Beyond Legacy to really, 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 really impact your life, to let you know that all things are possible. And we're here to help you create whatever it is that you want your legacy to be, whatever it is that you want the impact of your community to be.
Yes.
We're here to help you in all things legacy, with us.
Yes. And I am ERICKA FERNANDEZ, the other co-owner of Young Legacy. And for my perspective is, listen, legacy is important, not just to you, but I'm sure your kids and grandkids would love to say, my grandmother, my auntie, my sister, my brother left this behind for me. And their vision was this. And it is a great vision because they see the impact it has, not only on just your community, but on the world, and that nobody else is doing it. And she would have loved to do that. That's the legacy mindset that we want to change in every individual we talk to. That you see this clip that we're putting out about our business, that you start thinking, man, what legacy do I want to leave? Not just personally taking trips. What ministry is inside of you that has not been birthed? People leave money for charities. What is it that you want to leave behind?
Yeah.
Yes, you have a great character. Yes, you're beautiful. Beyond that, what else? And that is our goal, to really sit down with the individual. Yes, we're licensed insurance brokers. Yes, we know a lot of information about a lot of stuff, but we want you to talk about you and what God has placed in you. Because as one of our affiliates says, the brand is you.
Yeah.
And how do you get there to really do the things you want to do and have the impact that you want in your community, in your church, in your home, in your family? What is the matriarch of your family? What are you not doing, capturing about her that you would love, or him? Correct. What skill set would you love for them to transfer to you or to your grandchild? Are you not picking up on it? That's the legacy mindset we want to change in everybody. And it takes money.
Yeah.
And we know vehicles to get you there.
Yeah.
So have a conversation with us. Do yourself a favor. It doesn't cost you anything. Have a conversation. And it starts there, because communication is one of the areas where we are lacking in communicating what's going on with us.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It is okay. And you can find us at www.iambeyondlegacy.com. Our social medias are both on Instagram and Facebook, and TikTok, which is Beyond Legacy 2.
Yes.
Beyond Legacy 2. And we also have a podcast that you can also find us on YouTube, which is Beyond Legacy.
Yes. So we're Beyond Legacy everything. And our next vision board experience is June 29th.
Yes.
So you'll be seeing lots of things about us coming up for that event. And if you have a legacy that you really would love to actually put down on paper, come to our event. Be prepared.
Yes.
Be prepared to think outside of you.
Yeah.
And that's June 29th. And you'll find that information on our website.
Awesome.
Well, hey, you know what? I am so excited, and I want to express my great, gratitude for you guys coming on the show. I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to let KF&JF podcast be a part of your business and entrepreneurial experience. One of the things here on the podcast that, we are just hoping is that we can build a networking team of entrepreneurs where we can pull from and use, so we can have all of these industries and experience that's on the podcast, and have other people to go to and get them. And I hope they come to get you guys as well, because this has been a great conversation of information that is well deserved. I kind of I want to say some other stuff, but I got to be careful, because I know that this is a podcast, but this was damn good, because I did put my explicit part. I marked it. I checked it, so it's damn good. And you guys are worth everything that you've talked about. I'm so proud of you guys. Razak, what do you think, man? Over there, are you rubbing iron or are you rubbing wood, brother? What you doing?
I think it went well. The area I'm in, they're like, just like you can hear like little motorcycles going up and down the street, like they're racing or something over there, man. It's just, so aside from that, I was kind of like hoping, like, sometimes it's when we have these podcasts and the information, that the value, you know, when I listen to you guys and other podcasters, well, not other podcasters, but other guests that we have on here, and the story is always different. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's always something that I can take with me and say, I learned something. You know what I mean? Or I'm inspired. You know what I mean? Or I found out something that we have in common in the sense of either our work ethics or the way we go about getting the work done. You know what I mean? Sometimes you might have days, it's like working out. Sometimes you might not feel like working out, but you got to get it done. You
Yep.
know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's the same thing, and I mean that in the sense of having a business is a workout. It can
Yes.
be a drain.
Yes.
There are going to be times you're like, man, damn, let me just, I don't want to do it today. Let me take it. I run my own business, so
Why?
this is a day off for the business today. We
Yeah.
but
Gotta
every
remember
day
your why,
we have
and
to
that's
go every day. So and a lot of times where we be thinking about this, especially on our down times, I'll be doing the editing and stuff, and that takes time. But at the same time, I like the interaction, and I like to hear the stories, and I think everybody has value. They are capable of interpreting the bad things as a good sign. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So we're going through. You guys had mentioned some kind of biblical spiritualness at some point in time, and with that being said, sometimes we may have certain kind of obstacles, and we may do other things. Like I was saying earlier, I went on a whole different journey over here going to school. I mean, I still use those tools that I learned from there,
Mhm.
but it didn't end up being anything that I'm doing now. You know what I mean? So it's you have different things that you may think that I mean, hey, this is what I need to do because maybe somebody's pushing you or was convenient at that time. But as you said, the vision board, is it what you actually want to do in life? You know what I mean? And how much reward are you getting from doing that?
right.
You know what I mean? So when in doing the podcast, there's a sense of reward.
Mhm.
Hearing you guys, knowing that in my own way, I'm assisting you guys to get to where you need to be. Also, that gets me to where I want to be.
Right.
Mentally wise. I mean, physically wise in my business and all those things. And
Mhm.
so I take a lot of that from these podcasts and these interviews. I
Yeah.
keep saying podcasts, but the interviews, you know,
No, no,
and
no.
it's just a good time for me, really. You know what I mean? So and I get to replay everything you say when I do this editing. I get to I'm going to hear this maybe about 10, 20, 30 times what you guys are saying before the YouTube people can see it
Yeah.
and all these other sites. But so that's kind of like my little thing I get out of it. So I can always sit back. Think what really I need to gather everything that I'm hearing from you guys and writing some of this stuff down as in I want to do a workshop.
Yep.
I think I don't know which one of you guys said it, but I think it was Erica. Let's I think in the future time let's do a workshop or something. Start having conferences where we're all getting together and say, hey, how are you doing?
Mhm.
This is my business, how my business going,
Right.
and maybe that feedback and that mentorship of people who are doing the same struggle, trying to get their business afloat and trying to get them at a certain level and then status in society that I mean it can only be helpful. I don't
Yeah.
see nothing wrong with it. I
I
mean nothing to go wrong.
yeah,
I
no, I
mean it's only helpful
We
advice
might
from
need
people
something from each other.
who've been there.
oh,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
Mhm.
what that's
yeah.
all
might need
about.
something. Yeah,
Sharing.
Yep.
Yep.
A support, and it's
we
kind
might
of like
need something from each other. We might be able to use each other.
yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
mastermind group, right?
That's what I
And
think.
you get to
Mhm.
support one another, give each other ideas, see what's working, see what's not working. But I love that idea. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
When I was going to
Now,
school,
one of the things that we
they had a
go ahead, Razak.
what they call it. We used to have a meeting because I got a bachelor's in business and all that type of stuff. So, and when we used to go to to their little meetings and stuff, we would have these we'd be brainstorming. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll all sit there and like, okay, we're all in school, but we're all about to graduate. So what kind of business are we going to have? Well, everybody's getting this degree. So what are we about to do? You know what I mean? So it's like, so we would go there and we thought of some. I don't even know if everybody even did with as many stuff that we came up with, but we would go. But now I can see how to utilize that. And this is kind of what we're doing now. After hearing you guys asking these questions, we're all going to be able to come back and re-listen to us and start to brainstorm on what we need to improve on, or,
Yeah.
or what is just working, and we need to harness more on doing that what's working. You know what I mean? And for me, is just all this just adds to me having a better business and a better business mind state and a business better work ethic to go about being successful.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys for that.
You're welcome. Yes.
Keith,
Yeah, well,
see what?
thank you guys, and I look forward to seeing your business grow, and look forward to you guys getting to the goals and places that you want to be. And here at KF&JF Podcast, we on the move, and so we're gonna keep moving.
All right. Well,
We
thank you
gonna keep
guys.
moving. So,
Much.
You guys.